Hey, everybody. I had a lot of emails and a lot of questions about the Villages Hospital and the 1-star rating. I don't know much about it. I don't know if 1-star is really bad, kind of bad, or just terrible. I know that the Villages Hospital has been sold within the last couple of years, I think. But anyway, of all the questions you guys sent me, and I wrote some down, I was trying to get answers to some of these questions. And most people at the hospital are just negligent to talk to you. They just, nurses and things, they just don't want to. And I understand they don't want to commit themselves to things. So I thought, we'll call the medical guru himself. And I'm sure he would have some answers to help everybody out. So welcome, Craig Morrison, the Medicare expert is what I like to call him.
Hello, Skip. Good to be here. Good to see you.
You sent me some information about how they receive a 1-star rating. And I got to admit, it concerns me too, because I'm getting older and, medical issues do pop up from time to time. And I'd like to think if I have to go to the hospital, I'm going to go to one that's at least fairly decent. And my mind says with a 1-star rating that the Villages Hospital, and I'm just going to put it out there, is not decent. Am I wrong?
Based on that 1-star rating, you are right on the money. Again, star ratings are done to compare. The reasons they were started in 2017 was for patients, consumers like you, to be able to do an apples to apples comparison and decide where you want to get care. So if 1-star is the worst and 5-star is the best, then 1-star is not good.
Okay, just bring everybody's attention here also. Here's a disclaimer.
Yeah, let me just talk about that. All this information is obviously in response to the questions that people have posed to me, they posed to Skip, they probably pose them to anybody who's in this field, but it is our personal opinion. It is based on public information. So I'm a CMS certified Medicare broker, and none of my comments relate to CMS. I'm not a CMS representative, nor do they reflect any of the companies, the Medicare companies I represent, nor do they represent the channel, Skip's channel, okay? So adoption of all of these opinions should always be fact-checked, but this is public information.
All this information is public information. There's nothing secret about any of this. Let me go to the next page. Oh, now, also on this front page, let me notice that Craig Morrison's phone number is there. Craig Morrison's. You using that, Craig?
Yeah, for this particular situation, I am. Yes.
Okay. Craig at FabianInsurance.com, and I noticed the F is capitalized.
It doesn't have to be. It's just more readable that way.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Craig at FabianInsurance.com, and I'll try to put a link below this video, so if you want to send him any questions or anything. Let me get this out of the way, too, because I got this. We are going to do, hopefully, a live broadcast for anybody that's got Medicare info or questions in a future date, like within the next, I'll say, 4 or 5 days. Is that correct?
Correct.
We don't know how we're going to do it yet. We don't know if we're going to do it on porch setting or do it this way, but it is going to be live. So anybody's got any questions will have to come to the live show, and I'll post it days ahead of time on YouTube in a thumbnail alerting you what day and what time. So we'll get that out of the way. So what goes into a CMS hospital rating? Who is accountable? Is a 1-star rating really that bad? What can be done? And Craig, take it over.
Yeah, so these are based on like I said, Skip mentioned the responses were actually the questions and comments that people have made on one of Skip's shows or whenever this topic comes up. So these are the areas these are kind of the high points, this topic. So if we go to the first slide there, the next slide, what goes into a star rating? Well, it is standardized, okay? Remember I said it was apples to apples. So we want to make sure CMS, and by the way, CMS is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. They're the ones who govern Medicare and Medicaid. So that when I say CMS, I apologize. I should have let you know what that acronym meant. But anyway, they're trying to get to the point where much like you run into on Amazon and things like that, although these are more important decisions, they want you to be able to have some credible data that they've kind of verified so that you can make a decision on where you want to go to a hospital. So there's clinical data and there's patient satisfaction survey. So the patient data, the clinical data, I should say, covers all of these 5 areas. They call them areas of measure. And one talks about mortality. In other words, are people dying in these hospitals? What is the safety of care? After somebody's been treated, what type of readmission is going on? Are there a lot of if there's a lot of readmissions, there's a question that goes up. Did they take care of the problem the first time? The patient experience, and then timely and effective care. So those are the 5 things. Now, I told Skip earlier, if you had a PhD in statistics, you would love to see what's behind all of this clinical data, because there are so many different procedures, treatments, et cetera, that they track. But remember, it's self-reported from the hospital to CMS. Now we'll go to the second part of it, which is the patient satisfaction. So the patient survey, it's called HCHIPS for short, but the patient surveys are literal surveys that you get, kind of like you would get from, a merchandiser that you bought something from, a car dealer that you bought a car from, or, how'd we do? How are we doing? CMS actually, they control this, and it's a standard 29-question survey about the experience as far as a hospital admission. It's things like communication with doctors and nurses. Did they talk to you about your diagnosis, your prognosis, your treatment and medicines to your satisfaction? Was the staff responsive to your questions and needs? Was the facility clean and quiet? Did you get discharge information when you left the hospital knowing what you had to do, or maybe your caretaker had to do? And most importantly, and this is kind of where the star and the star rating comes from, would you recommend this hospital? So again, between the clinical data from that hospital and how they treat their patients and the patient surveys that they get from people who have been there, that's how the star ratings are calculated. Now we can go on to the next topic. Who's in leadership? Okay, so the next slide shows us that the owner of both the Leesburg Hospital and the Village Hospital is UF Health Central Florida. Now, that UF Health may be, that might ring a bell with people with their parent company, who is up the road in Gainesville, about 60 miles up the road in Gainesville, other known as Shands. But UF Health is their new branding, and this Central Florida area is actually a separate division, although it is owned by UF Health. Now, these are the ladies, it just happens to be ladies in this particular case, that I chose out of their list of executive officers that would best be accountable, or the ones that questions should be posed to as to why do they have a 1-star rating, or what, most importantly, what they're going to do about the 1-star rating and improving it. So we've got the CEO, and again, these are not necessarily ladies or, officials that have been there forever. These are relatively new people that have been hired since the acquisition a couple years ago. So we've got the CEO, we've got the chief clinical officer, and then the lady who takes care of quality control. So I thought that those would be the 3 that, if you looked at something, and again, this is not a finger pointing session. We are just trying to find out why and how to improve it. So these would be the ladies that I would suggest reaching out. Okay. And then the next slide, 1-star rating, normal for this area. Okay. So the next slide kind of shows, I have a full-blown Excel spreadsheet that has about 70 lines with every hospital and its CMS ratings. But I pared it down on this next slide as to what I thought you would be most interested in. Now, one comment I had, and this really depends on how long you've been a villager or in the Villages area, and Skip can vouch for this, even today, outside of the boundaries of the Villages, you don't have to go very far and find cattle and farmland and, rural property that's undeveloped. So you've got to remember that although the Villages has done a good job with their infrastructure and growth and making sure roadways are in and, it looks beautiful and landscaped and et cetera, remember, they weren't the ones who necessarily were responsible for making sure you had a hospital. Now, I'm sure they had a lot of say in it. I bet they probably had a lot to do with building that first hospital. But as far as operating it goes, you've got to remember that much like what we've been talking about with the village's growth and whether the infrastructure can handle it, whether it be people who are working in the villages and have families where they can live, or doctors, medical, and all that, that's one of the taxing pressure points of the growth. So let's talk a little bit about, is a one-star rating that bad for this area, okay? I already told you it was bad based on a scale of 1 to 5, but how about this area? So where's another closest one-star hospital? Well, I know we've used kind of the Villages Hospital in Leesburg interchangeably, one, because of their ownership, two, because of their close proximity. But you've got 2 one-star hospitals here serving you. Those are the closest ones. And that's what we were talking about. This is the public information. So if you have an elective surgery or something like that and you want to look somewhere else, where's the next 2-star? Well, the next 2-star is down in Marion County, okay? It's the Marion County Community Hospital. It's 19 miles north, and then there's also an HCA hospital in Citrus, Inverness area at 21 miles away, okay? Again, if you have an elective surgery where you have a choice as to when and where you want that done, then at least you have a choice that's not too far away. The next closest is 37 miles away, okay, as far as 2-star. We'll just jump into 3-star. Advent Health, and you're going to hear this name a lot. Advent Health in Tavares and Ocala are within 20 miles of the village. Orlando, Southlake, and Claremont is 26 miles away. After that, you've got to go 45 miles to find a 3-star. Your closest 4-star is 44 miles away. It's, again, an Advent Health in either DeLand or Orange City. Florida Hospital has a facility in Zephyr Hills, 47 miles away. And then what most people recognize as one of the best hospitals consistently in the state of Florida, UF Health in Gainesville, is 53 miles away. And then there is one 5-star rated hospital as of the filming of this video, and that's Advent Health in Wesley Chapel. It's about 55 miles away, but if anybody's done any traveling in the villages, around the villages, day trips and things like that, Wesley Chapel is literally right off of I-75. So it's not like it's pretty much all highway driving. When I put these out here, that's why I say, is a 1-star rating that bad? In and of itself, yes. It's 1 out of 5. It's the worst one that you could get. However, if you look at its peer hospitals around this Central Florida area, it might not be as bad as it looks. You do have a choice, and that's what's so important. You've got a knee surgery or something like that you're looking, an elective surgery that's not an emergency or something like that, then you do have a choice. And that's what this slide is all about. So what can be done? This is kind of the call to action. I don't have the the solution or the answer. I wish I did, but I do know that you can be an influencer in regards to changing the culture and the situation as far as a 1-star rating. So let's go into the slide as far as what we can do as patients, people who receive medical care in this area. So the biggest thing is accountability, right? If you're hired to do a particular job, or you have a business that goes into a particular area and you say you're going to do such and such and for such and such a price and such a time, there's got to be some accountability, okay? A quick search of the internet, basically, if you do a quick search of the internet for UF Health, Central Florida, you're going to find a bunch of great, well-written press releases about not only the hirings that we talked about, but the purchase of the property. For you that listen to either the FSU or Gator Network for football, you notice that UF Health does commercials. And guess what? They include the villages and Leesburg in their ad. Okay, so they're really touting this. However, on the flip side, I could not find one official proclamation, press release, interview, or anything else where UF Health Central Florida addressed and acknowledged the need for improvement in this 1-star rating. So that's one thing you can do. If you're using these hospitals, it would be just like, you got bad service at some facility, merchandise, car dealer, whatever. You'd probably want to talk to the manager or talk to somebody about your experience and what they're going to do about it. So that's the first thing, is accountability. I'm a firm believer in going directly to the person that you've got, quote unquote, a beef with. We don't have to go above their head and talk to the governor and all that sort of stuff. I think if we reach out and talk to those people who are in control, I think that would be good. Market, okay? Dollars and cents. Guess what? Healthcare is a big market. It's a big business. And we all know that. Even though most of us have insurance, we still have co-pays and things of that nature, deductibles maybe. And let's face it, our insurance is paying for a good portion of our services, but market influence can be the best catalyst. In other words, what I'm saying is you are the consumer. Yes, we respect our medical staffs and physicians and things of that nature, but, they need to be accountable. And just like we showed on the geographic star rating where, how many miles away is the next star rated hospital? There's many options that you can choose as far as that goes. So UF Health doesn't have to get your business, and it could hurt them. I mean, they're in business to make money. And if they don't do it well to your satisfaction, then either give them the opportunity to do so or go elsewhere. And then community influence, I think, can be used as well. I have no idea what the tax collector takes in based on Sumter County and Lake County and Marion County as far as the village's properties go, but I'm sure it's a pretty penny. So those people who are representing you, elected officials, need to be aware of this problem. Now, I'm not saying they're not aware, but they need to hear from you that that you're aware of it and that it's affecting your lifestyle and what makes the villages in this area ideal for you to live in. So local and county officials need to know. Every one of their websites has a way for you to not necessarily lodge a complaint, but at least let them know about the situation. Okay, so those are 3 areas. So in the next slide, we'll kind of show these resources, and I know you might have to pause this video to write all these down. I showed the picture of the ladies before who are the part of the executive council, so to speak, of UF Health Central Florida. Here are their phone numbers. Cheryl Chestnut did not have one, but those are their addresses if you want to address them, excuse me. Next slide will be showing the village's health. Now, I haven't said much about the village's health up until this point, and I don't want to correlate the problem with the hospital with the village's health, or that they have any influence on that positively or negatively. But I do know they're one of the largest, they are the largest healthcare provider in the area, whether it be primary care or whether it be the specialties that they offer. They do a very good job of that. But again, their influence, because they're the ones who are referring you to these hospitals. They're the ones who are saying, go here to get that done or what have you, if you have to go to the hospital. Both Dr. Sussman and Mr. Trin have been in those positions for a while, and I'm sure they would love to hear from a lot of people, how this is affecting them and what influence they can be on the operations of these hospitals. And then the third one is I just picked the Sumter County commissioners. Obviously we have some city municipalities as well involved, depending on where you live and the elected governance structure, Lady Lake and Wildwood and things of that nature. But again, these are the names of the particular county commissioners. You should probably know what district you're in. If not, the supervisor of elections or your voting card should show you that. and they have one general number. So if you're going to leave a message or ask for a commissioner, make sure you specifically ask for the one who represents you as far as that goes. They also have an email address. Now, I was trying to get this particular URL or website a little bit cleaner, but this is the best I could do right now. I know it's got a lot of, special characters and slashes and backslashes and things like that. But this is actually the CMS website. This is where I got a lot of my information from, as far as each hospital and what their ratings were, how the ratings were determined, and that's a good source to go by. Again, I'm Craig Morrison. I am doing this basically because Skip, first of all, asked me to. I listened to almost every one of his broadcasts, and I can tell you this is a topic that everybody, whether they say it or not, is really concerned about. So hopefully this will get you a little bit better understanding of the problem, how it came to be as far as a star rating, and then what you can do to help influence the improvement. So I appreciate it. And I do welcome any comments or questions that you have.
Right. And on that video there, on one of your pictures, I forget which one it was your email and your phone number. Like I say, I'll put that in the description box below. And as I edit this video, I may just pop in your phone number on your picture once in a while, just to kind of let people know, what your phone numbers are. And you welcome any and all calls or emails, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And we're going to work on the Medicare live broadcast soon.
Okay. All right.
And we'll see how that goes. That always usually ends up being we can't answer all the questions. That's usually how it usually ends up. We have more questions than what we have time to answer.
Right. Okay.
So those that have any questions, make sure you come to the live show. Throw them questions in there. Don't hesitate, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Okay, right. Craig, I appreciate you spending your time here with me and giving us information. I'll get this edited and get it out as soon as I can. I know you're busy. I know you had to work me in to get me in here. We've been doing that for 2 weeks now, trying to get something like this.
It's important.
It is important, I think.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope that helps. Helps explain the 1-star rating. Is it as bad as we think it is? I don't know. I can only tell you that I don't feel good about it. The emails that are on there, rest assured, I'm going to send them an email from me, and we'll see if we get a response. I don't hold my breath for it. So with that being said, I do appreciate all of you for subscribing. I appreciate all of you for watching these videos. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate the thumbs up. Consider being a Patreon member if you want to support this channel. Thanks for watching. See you on the other side.